Welcome back to Already Overbooked. Today, we're diving into a novel that caught me off guard in all the best ways. Whispers of the Storm by Z.B. Steele. This isn't your typical coming of age fantasy. It's sharp, it's tragic, lyrical, emotionally raw. So grab your scarf and prepare for a storm of trauma, loyalty, betrayal, and magic, because Redline's journey is one you won't forget. All right, so let's get started with the summary. The story begins with Redline, a young boy marked from birth by what others call the eye of a killer. His childhood is shadowed by fear and whispers, even from his own parents. When his father abandons him at a fortress that trains young recruits to become elite warriors known as vanguards, Redline's life shifts from a harsh, unrelenting rhythm. What follows is a deep, emotional chronicle of growth and disillusionment. Redline navigates a brutal academy system, mysterious mentors and strained friendships, secret trials, and a philosophical clash rooted in faith and ideology. As the years pass, Redline becomes stronger, but he also becomes more haunted by people he lost, truths he learned, and actions he must take. The narrative is framed by interludes where there is a individual who is writing all the accounts and records of Redline's story, adding layers of myths, bias, and also regret. So let's jump into the next section, writing style. Z.B. Steele's writing was elegant. It had grit. The prose flows beautifully, which balance his poetic insights with raw brutality. Steele is not afraid to let Redline sit within his own pain, reflect at length, or challenge the reader with big philosophical questions. The structure is also noteworthy. The main narrative is split by those interludes where Maya, the chronicler, interacts with Redline in the present. These meta narratives deconstructs the mythos being built, adding commentary on the nature of storytelling, legacy, and what we presume to be truth. Dialogue is very intelligent. There's emotional connection here and a lot of brutality and some darkly humorous moments as well. Jumping into the tones and themes, the tone shifts from somber and reflective to grim and intense. While I mentioned humor does exist, it's subtle and used to offset those different tension moments. There's a really melancholy that runs throughout, especially in the later chapters of the book. Here's a few key themes in this. There is identity and transformation, really around Redline as he constantly is evolving and adapting to his trauma, loss, and the power that he's growing. He's not the same boy at the end of this story as he was at the very beginning. The book explores the long-term effects of violence, emotional repercussion, PTSD. Steele is critiques the system that claims to uphold justice, but often demands cruelty. Redline's morality is tested repeatedly. The interlubes question whether the story being told is accurate or self-serving. Maya is both a she chronicles what is being said, but she's also very skeptic on, hey, is Redline telling 100% truth within his story? It is a coming of age, really in a broken world. There, at its heart, this is a coming of age story set in a world that punishes the young for growing. Some jumping into the pros and cons. Um, start with the pros, of course. Redline's voice is consistent, it's powerful, it's authentic, very unforgettable protagonist. The book handles grief, guilt, and growth with maturity and nuance. He does a very great job with that different layers of emotions. The world building is done very well. There's a religious system, a political factions, there's military hierarchy, and it's done very seamlessly and it's integrated very well. And you could tell that Steele put a lot of thought and those different factions. The interlude does add depth, and there is an emotional payoff at the end of this book. Nothing is feels like it's wasted. Some of the cons um, is pacing. Pacing. There's the plot's slow. The book lingers in Redline's headspace often. There's a lot of emotional heaviness, definitely around the fragile mental space. And it could be very intense for some readers. And honestly, the side characters, there's a few of them that could have had more spotlight, especially giving the potential in the narrative. My final thoughts: Whispers of the Storm is a beautifully written, deeply ambitious story, and I really respect that. The prose are excellent, the themes are strong, and Redline's voice is distinct. But for me, it never fully clicked. But I still end up giving this a 7 out of 10. I really like the book. Uh, the pacing dragged in places, the emotional tone rarely lifted, and some of the side characters just felt underbaked. And still, if you're into a introspective fantasy with weighted themes and aren't afraid of that slow burn, this might be right up your alley. I do plan on continuing to read works by Z.B. Steele, as I really enjoyed his prequel novella, An Inkling in Flame. I really enjoyed that book a lot. So I hope we can get in the future books less of the flashback storytelling. I wasn't a fan of that. I've read a few other books that do that very well, and unfortunately, that's probably the undercurrent for me on why this really didn't hit as well. I was going through and reading some other books that do the same kind of trope, and they do it a lot better. So ZB Steele he's a very good author, and I'm very excited to see his future works. This one just didn't hit it for me at this time. So let me know down in the comments your thoughts on Whispers in the Storm, and don't forget to like, subscribe. You know what to do. So I see you in the next one.